We welcome you, dear viewers, through Noursat TV in Tel El-Mir. We begin our bulletin with the top headlines. Pope Leo XIV, no military victory can ever compensate for the pain of mothers and the fear of children. Widespread international condemnation of the terrorist attack on St. Elias Church in Damascus, with calls to confront extremist ideologies. Cardinal Pizzabella, the Holy Eucharist is the heart of the Christian life and the soul of the Church. The Catholic Church in Jordan commemorates the day of the pilgrimage to the shrine of Our Lady of the Mountain in Hanjara. His Holiness Pope Leo XIV declared that humanity is crying out and pleading for peace in response to the alarming news coming from the Middle East. Speaking at the conclusion of the weekly Angelus prayer in the Vatican, His Holiness stated that every member of the international community bears a moral responsibility to put an end to the tragedy of war in the region before it turns into an abyss from which there is no return. Addressing thousands of faithful gathered in St. Peter's Square, he said, "No armed victory can ever compensate for the suffering of mothers, the fear of children, and the future that has been stolen," emphasizing that wars leave deep wounds in the history of nations. In a separate development, Pope Leo XIV also expressed his deep sorrow over the loss of innocent lives and the destruction caused by the terrorist attack on St. Elias Greek Orthodox Church in the Syrian capital Damascus. His Holiness conveyed his heartfelt solidarity with all those affected by this tragedy, entrusting the souls of the martyrs to the mercy of the Heavenly Father and praying for the comfort of the bereaved and the healing of the wounded. The Pontiff also called for the peace of the Lord and His divine gifts of consolation, healing, and peace to descend upon the entire Syrian nation. In related news, His Majesty King Abdullah II sent a letter of condolences to Syrian President Ahmed al-Shari following the terrorist attack that targeted St. Elias Church in Damascus, which claimed the lives of innocent civilians and injured many others. In the telegram, His Majesty extended on behalf of himself, the people, and the government of the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan his condolences to the families of the victims and his wishes for a speedy recovery to the injured. He affirmed Jordan's firm stance in solidarity with Syria against all forms of terrorism and extremism. His Majesty also sent a similar letter of condolences to His Beatitude John X Yazigi, Patriarch of Antioch and all the East for the Greek Orthodox. His Beatitude Patriarch Theophilus III, Patriarch of Jerusalem and all Palestine and Jordan, condemned the criminal attack on St. Elias Church in Damascus, describing it as not only an assault on the faithful in Syria, but a bleeding wound to the dignity of all humanity. Meanwhile, the Council of Heads of Churches in the Holy Land condemned the heinous act in a statement, stressing that the protection of places of worship, whether temples, churches, or mosques, is a duty upheld by all religions, human values, and international laws and norms. The Council emphasized that any attempt to attack, bomb, or demolish places of worship is a clear violation of religious teachings and international law. It expressed full solidarity with the Christians of Syria who have endured years of persecution and displacement and are now once again gripped by fear and insecurity. The Islamic Christian Commission for Supporting Jerusalem and the Holy Sites also condemned this heinous crime, stating in a press release that the despicable and suspicious terrorist act does not only target innocent lives but strikes at the heart of Syria's national unity at a sensitive time. The statement affirmed that the attack clearly aims to spark sedition and chaos, serving hostile foreign agendas that seek to sow division and undermine the deep-rooted Christian-Muslim unity that has long defined Syrian and Arab history. In a related context, His Royal Highness Prince Al-Hassan bin Talal, Chairman of the Board of Trustees of the Royal Institute for Interfaith Studies, affirmed that every attack on peaceful worshippers in their places of worship is an assault on the fundamental values of religion. This came in a letter of condolences sent by His Royal Highness to His Beatitude John X Yazigi, Patriarch of Antioch and all the East for the Greek Orthodox, following the terrorist bombing at St. Elias Church in Damascus. Prince Al-Hassan emphasized that when certain extremists claiming affiliation with Islam declare responsibility for the killing of worshippers in churches, they deeply misrepresent the teachings of Islam, which emphasizes the sanctity of human life. He added that this attack constitutes an assault on the values of peace and human dignity, which are at the heart of both Christianity and Islam. In an atmosphere filled with faith and reverence, His Beatitude Cardinal Pier Battista Pizzabella, Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem, presided over Martins and the Divine Liturgy at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. The service was attended by a number of bishops and priests, as well as a limited group of faithful due to the current circumstances affecting the city and the region. In his homily, His Beatitude stressed that the Holy Eucharist is the heart of Christian life and the soul of the Church. He noted that the mystery of the Eucharist is not merely a remembrance of the Lord's Supper, but a living communion with Christ, who offers Himself daily for the salvation of the world. Following communion, a solemn Eucharist procession took place around the Holy Tomb, with the Patriarch carrying the Blessed Sacrament accompanied by priests and altar servers, while hymns rose in praise of Christ present in the sacrament. At the end of the procession, Cardinal Pizzabella bestowed the apostolic blessing upon the attendees, concluding the liturgical celebration in an atmosphere of devotion and prayer for peace in Jerusalem and throughout the Holy Land. The Catholic Church in Jordan commemorated the Christian Pilgrimage Day to the Shrine of Our Lady of Mountain in Anjara, located in the Ajloun Governorate. This site is one of the 5 major Christian pilgrims destinations in the kingdom officially recognized by the Vatican in the year 2000. On this occasion, a solemn mass was celebrated in the church courtyard presided over by Bishop Iyad Atwal, Patriarchal Vicar for the Latin Church in Jordan, on behalf of Cardinal Pizzabella, Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem. The celebration included the participation of many priests, deacons, the Apostolic Nuncio to Jordan, Archbishop Giovanni Del Tasso, monks, nuns, and a large number of worshippers from various parts of the kingdom. In his homily, Bishop Twal called on the faithful to look at the Virgin Mary as a star of hope and faith, and to take her as their model and guide, especially during these challenging times. At the conclusion of the Mass, Father Yusuf Francis, pastor of the church, addressed the attendees with a word of thanks for their participation in this annual pilgrimage, expressing his appreciation for all the efforts made to ensure the success of this blessed occasion. Prior to the Mass, a special gathering was held, attended by Ajloun Governor Naif Al-Hadayat, Member of Parliament, heads of government departments, and large assembly of believers. Metropolitan Saba Esper, Metropolitan of North America for the Greek Orthodox Church, visited Jordan along with his accompanying delegation. The visit began at the Greek Orthodox Archdiocese in Amman and St. Nectarius Monastery, followed by a stop at the Orthodox Club in Abdoun, where they were received by Metropolitan Christophorus, Metropolitan of Jordan, for a fraternal meal. The delegation also visited the Monastery of the Virgin Mary, Fountain of Life in Dibin, the ancient city of Jerash, and the Shrine of Prophet Elijah in Ajloun. The tour continued to St. George Church and the Mosaic Map in Madaba and the Monastery of the Theophany at the baptism site. And the visit concluded with a traditional Jordanian dinner attended by members of the local community and dignitaries. Under the patronage of Archbishop Giovanni Del Tasso, the Apostolic Nuncio to Jordan, the Union of Religious Orders in Jordan celebrated the graduation of the 3rd cohort of Ambassadors of Hope at the auditorium of the Rosary Sisters College in Shmisani. The event was attended by priests, nuns, the graduates' families, and supporters of the initiative. In her address, Sister Lilian Imri, the college principal, praised the initiative's role in combating human trafficking, followed by remarks from Sister Cecile Hajazin, who thanked the event's patron and all those contribute their time, effort, and knowledge to the support of the initiative. A group of students from the Latin North School performed hymns, creating an atmosphere filled with joy and love. Ms. Samaram Smerat, the executive director of the Latin Patriarchate Schools, also addressed the attendees, commending the Springs of Hope initiative and its focus on upholding human dignity. The celebration concluded with the Apostolic Nuncio distributing graduation certificates to the new ambassadors of hope.
I would like first of all to thank you for the work you are doing. And also one detail, but important detail, I saw that you brought a group of children to Mount Nebo, but you know we have several other places, holy places, that even our Jordan people should know. Jordan is a blessed country because we have these holy sites all over the country. I will be not long, but I have to say 2 things. We are speaking of hope, and we are speaking of messages of hope. We are speaking of the fact that we have human trafficking all over the world. But very often human trafficking comes from the fact that there is no peace. Because of war and tensions, people feel obliged to go to other places, and very often people are misusing war and tensions in order to exploit people. As I said yesterday in Anjara, the first words of our new Pope, Pope Leo, were, "Peace be with you." And these were the first words of Jesus Christ after his resurrection, "Peace be with you." I was struck by this fact, because it is like how can I say, a prophecy that our world needs peace. And we see this in these very days in our region, how important it is that we need the peace of Christ. because this peace begins in our heart and is spread to our other people, to other nations, to the whole world. So the first reflection is we need this peace coming from the risen Christ. This is why it is important what you are doing, because this seed should grow and become a big tree. And so we see, and this is the last thing I would like to say, and so you see that education is not just for yourself. Education is also in order to grow up society. So education should support the contribution of every one of us to the wealth of the Jordanian society.
Father Dr. Firas Nasraween, Director General of the Latin Patriarchate Schools in Jordan, presided over the graduation ceremony of two cohorts, one from the Deir Latin Basic School and other from the kindergarten of the Latin Patriarchate Schools in Smekiyeh. The celebrations were attended by priests, Mrs. Haifa Zriqat, principal of the Latin Patriarchate Schools in Karak, religious sisters, and families of the graduates. The event featured artistic and national performances by the students. After a speech by the representative of the graduates' parents, Father Nasraween delivered a heartfelt message congratulating the students and their families. He also praised the teaching and administrative staff for their efforts in organizing the event, highlighting the century-long presence of the Latin Patriarchate in Smekiyeh. The ceremonies concluded with the distribution of certificates, and the graduates and their families exchanged congratulations and best wishes. In an atmosphere of spiritual joy and popular festivity, and under the patronage of His Beatitude Cardinal Pier Battista Pizzaballa, the Bir Zayt parish celebrated the 50th anniversary of the church's founding, the priestly jubilee of Father Louis Hasboun, and honored couple celebrating 25 and 50 years of marriage. The celebrations began in the church courtyard, where Cardinal Pizzaballa, bishops and priests received a warm and solemn welcome amid cheering crowds and the participation of scout troops. The courtyard was beautifully adorned by local women dressed in traditional attire, creating a vibrant and authentic scene that reflected deep-rooted faith and heritage. 32 boys and girls from the Chaldean parish received the sacrament of the Holy Eucharist at the St. John de la Salle Church in Amman, following a 6-month preparation course. This celebration took place during the Divine Liturgy presided over by Chor Bishop Zaid Hababa, the Chaldean Patriarchal Vicar in Jordan, with the presence of the children's families, deacons, parish, choirs, monks, and nuns. In his homily, Father Hababa spoke to the children about the meaning of the Holy Eucharist, encouraging them to continue attending church regularly and reminding parents of their important role in nurturing their children's faith and accompanying them to Sunday Mass. During the celebration, the children prayed for Jordan, its leadership, government, and people, that it may remain safe and stable, and for peace throughout the world. And with that, dear viewers, we come to the end of our broadcast. Before we conclude, here's a reminder of the main headlines. Pope Leo XIV, no military victory can ever compensate for the pain of mothers and the fear of children. Widespread international condemnation of the terrorist attack on St. Elias Church in Damascus, with calls to confront extremist ideologies. Cardinal Pizzabella, the Holy Eucharist, is the heart of the Christian life and the soul of the Church. The Catholic Church in Jordan commemorates the day of the pilgrimage to the shrine of Our Lady of the Mountain in Hanjara. For more information, please visit our website, noursatjo.org. Wishing you a pleasant day, and until we meet again.